Good morning, good afternoon. Is it morning or afternoon where most of you are? It is a very, very sunny afternoon here, as you can tell by the glare. Very rare in England that we get weather this incredible. Hi, Mike. Oh, we've got someone from the UK. What's the weather like where you are, Mike? Lovely in Suffolk, warm and sunny. If you couldn't tell, I am from the Midlands and it is so nice here today. We've had a really lovely week. How about everyone else? Where are you all from? What is it, morning, afternoon? How has your week's been? Please say hello because, as you will know by now, I am a new face on these webinars. You have got me instead of the amazing Raheen today. So hopefully I can get to know you all a little bit better and you can all introduce yourself and say hello. Katie, California. I'm not jealous at all, Katie. Not jealous at all. Toronto from Kansas. Oh, it's amazing. Isn't it incredible that technology can like bring us all together? Oh, from Cyprus. I love Cyprus. It's cold and raining. Oh, I'm sorry. It's usually cold and raining here, if that helps. Quite a few from Cali. Oh, this is amazing. It's so, so nice to meet all of you. I know briefly if you were on last month's um webinar, then you will have seen me very briefly. I made a brief appearance, but if I'm new to you, hello, I will be saying hi and telling you a little bit more about myself before we dive into today. Da, da, da. Hopefully, we are good to go. Can everyone, if you could all just confirm, can everyone hear me okay? I just want to check that everyone can hear me okay. There is no crackling. And yeah, we are all good on audio. Because the last thing I want to do is talk about all of this amazing stuff and none of you can hear me, which would be a real shame. Well, amazing. So people can hear me. That's always a good start. Incredible. I think we have got, I've given people a few minutes, so I know people are still logging on, so I will keep my eye on everything. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and dive right into it because I am so excited. I am so, so excited to be delivering this first webinar for you guys. Um, Hopefully you're going to get loads and loads of value from it. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of interesting insights into the world of social media. If you can all see my screen, that would be awesome. And we do have team in the chat. So if you have questions throughout, then obviously please just feel free to ask those questions. I might not be able to get to them straight away. Um, but if I can't, a member of the team will answer them and I will come back to questions at the end. So please feel free to just carry on engaging in the comments. So, welcome to AI and social media, the conversion connection. I am your host. Oh, I'm getting loads of notifications. Guys, I'm really sorry about this. Just give me a moment because I'm getting loads and loads of very odd notifications, and I'm hoping. Let me just stop that share so you can see me. Because I'm hoping if you can bear with me a second, I can iron out these issues. And if you aren't, because I can hear some echo, could you all just pop yourself on mute for me? That would be really great.
Hello.
I'm so glad it's not just me that has tech issues. Okay, let's get started. That should, she says, have figured things out. So if you could all see my screen, hi, hello. Better late than never, a few minutes in. But I am your host, Laura Amy. Like I said, if some of you saw me on last month's webinar, you'll know a little bit about me. But a brief whistle stop just so you know who your host is and who you're talking to, because I think that's always really important. So I am obviously from the UK, right in the middle of the UK for anyone that knows the UK. I'm from Birmingham. The best way to describe it is probably most of you will have heard of the Peaky Blinders. I'm from that kind of area. I have a huge addiction to coffee and food. So if you ever follow me on social media, expect to see a lot of that. I love to travel. I love country music, which we are just getting a massive influx of in the UK, which is brilliant for me. And I have run my own businesses since I was 18, which is shockingly almost 20 years. So anything around speaking or being centre stage is usually where you will find me. So again, if you follow my social media, you will see a lot of me doing that kind of thing. So I am a social media coach and content strategist, and I am doing obviously this webinar with heyLevi because I am now their director of marketing as well. And again, if you're in the groups, you would have seen that introduction. But I've been in social media for years. One of the reasons that I got into social media was because I got so sick of people not being able to market their businesses correctly online that I wanted to find a way to prove to people that hiring any generic marketers or using generic marketing tools wasn't always the best way forward, and that you really wanted to work with and collaborate with people who had got the most experience and who really knew what they were doing because they'd done it. So it wasn't just somebody talking about social media because they'd posted about social media. It was somebody who had run their own business and grew businesses on social media in other niches was essentially what I wanted to do. Now, if you would have spoke to me this time last year, and this is like full transparency, I am a tech phobe. I am still a tech phobe, as you will have seen from the start of this Zoom. And I was not somebody, full disclosure, who used AI. I was actually part of the very early groups when it started to come on the scene who actually was quite anti-AI. And the reasons I was anti-AI was because I never found something that could replicate human interaction and human feeling and human emotion in the way that we could do it ourselves. So I was always that person that was like, well, I can see the benefits of it and I can understand why people use it. But as a tech phobe and as somebody that really craves that human connection, it really scared me. Until I started working with heyLevi, until I came across heyLevi, because it was the first time I'd ever seen something that really took the notion of AI and not just incorporating it for content, but actually using it as a business suite to grow your business. And that did that from multiple different angles, which you will see on various of the workshops, but also from things that I'm going to go through on today's workshop. So I wanted to be really honest with you because what you're actually going to see in this is not only my social media expertise, but you're going to see it from the perspective of how my brain works and how I use heyLevi rather than somebody who's been in AI. And I think that's really important to know because if I can use it and if I can get on board with AI because of this app, then it's going to be an absolute godsend to you and your businesses and to the people that you are supporting, which is ultimately what we want. So let me get rid of that a second. Okay, so just for reference, just so again you have some kind of idea of who you're talking to, I get really good client results. And I think it's important to highlight that because I did this again without the use of any support. And yes, I got these results, but I'm a mum now, I've got a 10-month-old, and working in social media, like it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of brain power. Like I cannot even describe to you the level of brain power it takes me to get these level of results for my clients because I was doing it like on my own. And this is why I paired with heyLevi because it's an easier way to create content and take my expertise and bring it into the AI world, but use an app that gets it and that doesn't terrify me. So that's really important to remember in the terms of these results, but it's also why we created these social media modules because these results that I got for my clients organically and through just doing it myself shouldn't be limited to who you work with, or it shouldn't be limited to what type of business you've got. It should be about the tools you've got at your disposal. And the reality is a lot of businesses aren't using the tools effectively and aren't using the right tools to get these kind of results. So when we created the new social media modules, I took all of this expertise that you've seen and I paired it with Raheem's expertise and all of the things we have got going on as a team. And I was able to help them create these social media modules. So even if you aren't new, how you and you're not new to heyLevi, how you create content will change because of the changes we've made. And we've listened to you. I took on when I started this role, took on a lot of feedback from what I was told. And oh, can everyone just pop themselves on mute for me, please? And because of this feedback, we've combined products and brands, and these changes are now going to allow you to create content in a more effective way. Right, that's kind of what I really, really need you all to understand. Because I want you to get the most out of this. I want you to have the experience that I had as someone who has converted into AI. Because I wouldn't be using this app and I wouldn't be sitting here now if it didn't provide me with a whole system. So I think that's really, really important for context. So the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. And for me, that's like a little golden nugget because marketing should be easy. It should be an extension of us. It shouldn't be something we're stressed over. It shouldn't be something we're having sleepless nights over. It should be something that happens because we can do what we can do. Guys, can everyone make sure they're on mute, please?
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna unmute too. But James, yeah, James Valentino, if you could keep your audio muted, please, that would be great. Thank you.
I think we're all muted now. So, in my experience, social media should be simple, fun, informative, and relatable. And most people find it really hard to combine these four things until this app came along. And today you're going to see how easy it is to hit these four things so that creating social media is a pleasure for you. And that with the right brand voice that heyLevi provides, it's possible to do that quicker than ever before, even if you've shied away from creating content or content has overwhelmed you or confused you. And if you want to know more about the brand voices side of it, we did cover it in last month's workshop. Raheem covered that in an incredible workshop. So if you haven't watched that, one of the team will post the link to that so you can go and catch up on it, which would be amazing. But that's what social media should be. And overall today, I'll be covering why most businesses fail at middle of funnel and how that relates to content rather than your business. Platform psychology, because this is just the biggest thing people miss out on. Platform specific content and diversifying it across your audience and how you can use heyLevi for strategic content creation, which is the juicy bit that we love. So the first thing, are we all following? Are we all here and are we all ready to get into it? Give me like a little emoji, a thumbs up. Tell me, in fact, do you know what I want you to tell me? I want you to tell me what your biggest social media like concern is, bugbear, like thing that makes you panic. Like I want you to give me all the juicy details, because I'm going to come back to them and I can help you. And hopefully you'll get these answers and you can look at what you posted in the comments and then tell me at the end whether we fix that problem for you. So the first thing, why most businesses fail at middle of funnel. The first thing to think about is an inconsistent brand voice. And this is why I say go watch the Brand Voices webinar and make sure that you are really nailing down that brand voice within the app. Because when your brand voice is inconsistent, it doesn't feel authentic and aligned with your audience. And what you have to remember is social media is like that window to your shop. People are going to be walking past it like all the time, constantly seeing so many other shops in that street. And if they don't stop at yours, it's because yours didn't catch their attention. That's the way I want you to think about social media. So if your shop window is constantly changing and it's constantly confusing people, that's never going to make them come in. It's never going to make them feel like they align with you or that you are projecting an authentic brand voice. And then the next thing is at the middle stage of your funnel is where trust is built through consistency. And not only many businesses not being consistent with their posting because they don't know how to create that content, they're also struggling because they're only showing one variation of content or they're only focused on one platform. And what often happens as an extension of this is that the content that's created on that platform they've decided to use is wrong for the platform, which then prevents consistency being built. And again, it just destabilizes the entire of your brand message. So what happens is leads get confused and they lose interest. Now, heyLevi takes away that problem because what it does is gets right inside your customers' minds to ensure that they're not dropping out and you're not losing sales. So what it's going to do is take the content that it creates for you and allow you to post in a way that moves people really, really gently and really organically through your sales funnel. So you're never losing them, but more importantly, so you can enter that feedback loop with them and you can really understand what's working in real time, put that back into the app and keep going and keep giving your audience more of what they want so that you become like their online addiction. Because what we want is when they open those apps in the morning, when they're scrolling through the day, we want your audience to be looking for that content. We want them to be looking for your name because they want to see what you've got to say that day. So from there, then you can get into surface level content. Now, this is where people post and they post very generically, and it's not really drilled or nailed down into what their audience wants. Right, so it's that surface level content that you will have all seen it. You will have all seen it. LinkedIn, I'm just going to out LinkedIn, is the worst platform for this, where people just post generically and it kind of doesn't mean anything. And that's because people are guessing what they need to post. heyLevi doesn't let you do that because it takes the guesswork out of it and it gives you all this information with complete ease. So you don't ever post surface level content. So you're never going to bore your audience because they have got everything they need from what you're posting. The next mistake I see people making is that social media is often used solely for visibility, but middle of funnel requires deeper content that educates, differentiates, and nurtures. We know what it's like as humans. We want to feel part of something. We want to feel connectivity. We want to feel part of a community. And if your content isn't doing that, you are going to lose audience members and ultimately business, because even like the best creators I see miss this across platforms. They don't bridge that gap because they don't understand how each platform works and how that bridge is like completely different on each platform. So is that making sense so far? Like, keep talking to me in the comments. Is that making sense so far? Can you see how when you're second guessing your content and when you're posting just aimlessly without any real intention or strategy behind it, it's going to have an adverse effect? Like, you think it's really good because you're showing up and you're posting content and everyone just tells you to post, but it's not going to have the impact you want. And we want you to have impact. Like, we want you to have impact. And that is why I'm now going to talk about platform psychology, because arguably this is the missing puzzle piece for so many people. It's where I see people struggle the most. And I know I will always remember the day me and Raheen had this conversation and the example I'm going to give you and what her reaction was to this. So I want you to imagine, and you can imagine your ideal clients, your ideal customers, but I want you to imagine your ideal avatar, and they're duplicated. So you've got the same person looking at two different phones on two different apps, but everything else is the same. There are no other variables. It's the same time of day. They're searching for the solution to the same problem. They're looking with the same question, the same intent. Let me tell you now how they behave on each app in that phone is going to be totally different. And this is the biggest thing when we talk about bridging that gap. This is the biggest thing that I brought in from my expertise when I started working with heyLevi, was that this gap is where most businesses are falling short because they don't understand that different types of content impact the user differently and that these apps have trained us. We are like performing monkeys to these apps. Like they literally condition us and train us to do exactly what we want them to, what they want us to do without even thinking about it. Because ultimately, every app, every algorithm is designed to keep you on that platform longer so it makes more money. That is the whole point. And I want you to really focus in on that when you think about your content creation. Your goal is to do what these platforms are doing to us, to your clients and customers. You want to keep them on these platforms, engaged with your content as much as possible. So, how do we do that? We understand that example I've just given you that two people absorb content, two of the same people will absorb the same content differently because the apps have conditioned us that way. So the way they engage will be different. The way that the time of day that they engage, the problem faced. So for example, if you have got a mum searching for the answer to something, she's going to look very differently when she's scrolling on TikTok or Instagram late at night than she is when she stood at the water cooler in the office in the day scrolling on LinkedIn. Like they're going to be very, very different. So the same piece of information, you need to understand that whilst the information you're sharing doesn't change, how you share it has got to change. Otherwise, you are going to end up with a disengaged audience. Because like I said, we're all wired for connection, which is why like content, unique content that reflects your brand voice, it's so important because people need to connect to you and what you're saying in order to become like raving fans and in order for them to go, oh my God, this person is in my head. We know attention spans are short and apps have a dopamine driven design. So what I want you to do when you're thinking about that is I want you to look at previous content. If you were to read your previous content on an app, would it get your attention? And I'm going to be generous. Would it get your attention in 3 seconds? Because on average, most apps are actually under a second to grab attention and stop the scroll. So when we're talking about content that makes people feel a certain way, if people aren't even seeing your content because they're scrolling past it, like you're not even going to get to that point. So people will always engage with content that reflects them. This is why hooks are so important, and this is why talking direct to them is going to be so vital because mirror content is like chef's kiss of content. If you can mirror back to people what they are already thinking, oh my God, it's genius. It works every single time. It gets people in your DMs and it gets people hitting links because when it reflects them, like it's important that you're in their head. Like you want to be in their head. And let me tell you now, no other app can do that. Like I will put my money where my mouth is when it comes to heyLevi. No other app can do that, can get in an audience's mind. And believe me, I have tried them. I have been there. I have had these conversations that it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the way that heyLevi does because we've took the guesswork out of it for you. And what I want you to think about is when I say that is like how much time and energy is that going to save you? Like we're all busy. Like, oh my God, I've never known busy than since having a child. And let me tell you, taking the guesswork out of most of my work is like it's just money can't buy it. It's just incredible. So think of it from that perspective as well when you're thinking about like using the app, what it's going to save you with what we're teaching. So, platform specific content. This is just a brief whistle stop tour so that you can see what I mean in terms of the type of content that's absorbed and how it's absorbed. So, TikTok will always focus on informal and personal videos because it's become a search engine. There were stats last year, I don't know what they are updated, but there was a really good study done last year that suggested by the end of this year, TikTok would overtake Google for search optimization. So even if you're using the content modules and the social media modules to create scripts, think how much easier that's going to be saying the things that these people need you to say. So then Facebook is great for long and short form written content. Why? Because we are all nosy. Don't pretend you're not. We are all nosy. We love to nose on Facebook. Like Facebook stalking is just, oh, it's the best thing when you've got a cup of hot coffee and 5 minutes to yourself. Facebook stalking is incredible. People are going to stalk you with the right content. People will stalk you. They will search you out. Like I promise you, they will search you out and find your content. Instagram optimizes stories and visuals that keep their attention. So things like carousels and what people want are ideas and information. So think about your Instagram as this share hub of information that you can get out really quickly. And then LinkedIn prioritizes a mix of long and short form, informative and engaging content. Now, I'm gonna I'll say one thing. I'll do like a Instagram versus reality, but on LinkedIn. My Instagram is that I'm going to tell you that people want to chat on LinkedIn. No, no, no. People want to argue and prove they're right on LinkedIn, which is genius if you can create clickbait or like really well thought out and executed vocal content, which again, this app is going to allow you to do because like the LinkedIn algorithm, when it sees that people are going crazy over content on LinkedIn, like your views, your analytics, everything will go through the roof. And if you want to see how I personally do it, feel free to find me on LinkedIn because I am the queen of like pulling the pin, throwing in the grenade and running off and then watching my analytics and my leads sort. Probably one of my favorite things to do online. So, going back through them, just so you can get another idea from a different perspective, TikTok is an organic growth platform. These first two, this and Instagram, what I'm going to share with you on those two, super, super important. TikTok is an organic growth platform that focuses on entertainment discovery and it connects via relatability and likability. It's become like a community hub, but not in the same way Facebook has, because people don't necessarily want a connection from TikTok, but they just want to feel part of something. Facebook is all about connection and community, and people look for broader updates. So that's where I always say, like, a really good idea with Facebook is to do like 80% of your content that you create in this app, like around your business, but then 20% like make it about your life. Raheen's really good at this. She has like 20% of her lifestyle content like speckled in, and it just makes people feel like we know her. Like we know her, we like her, we see where she is. She's just been in Costa Rica, not made me jealous at all, but we know her life. So I feel more connected to her because of it. So Instagram is a sales platform. Now, I want you to see the difference between TikTok and Instagram. If you are not growing on Instagram and you have got clients on there and customers on there, it's probably because your content is trying to grow the platform, not sell on it. Instagram is geared to be a sales platform. It's trained us to buy things through it, in almost in a way like TikTok Shop has. But the idea is that you funnel to and away from it. So you can divert people to email lists or freebies, which again, you can create that content with the app, or you can take your email lists. You can take your email content and you can turn it into short form and long form content in the app that's going to give you posts that marry up to what people will then see in your emails, which is genius because then again, it's embedding the same message and building trust. But think of Instagram that way. You want to funnel people to it and you want to funnel people away from it. And your content needs to do that. LinkedIn is perfect for feedback and conversation and focuses on credibility. So that's where you can kind of have like a little bit of an ego. Like LinkedIn is the place where your content can let your ego run free and you can say all that stuff and like really own how good you are. So you need to make sure that your content is really echoing that. So the one thing I'm going to do, because if anyone has still noticed, the sun is glaring on me, I'm going to take a sip of water. But I want to know, are you taking notes and are you feeling overwhelmed? Those are the things that I want to know. The two questions. Have you been taking notes and are you feeling overwhelmed? Because usually when I get to this point in a presentation like this, no crackle, snaps, or pops. I've just seen one random comment from Nathan, and I have no clue what that refers to. I'm taking notes, but don't really know what to do yet. That's fine. We're going to get into that because I'm going to go into the apps now. Notes, yes. Overwhelmed. No, this is good. This is good. You guys came prepared. So we essentially, what I'm going to show you now is, let me go across. So we are going to make you the social media and marketing expert. Whether this is for you or for your clients, I promise you as a tech phobe, the demo I'm going to go through now is going to be so simple, so easy, and like I promise you, as long as you can click buttons and you can like use the app and navigate it, you are going to be able to implement what I've taught you on this webinar so far. And I'm going to jump into the demo now, but I want to say if you've never gone through the things that I've just been through, like I promise you, even if you don't see it now, understanding that is going to be so important because you're not knowing all what you know, knowing that psychology, knowing the behavior, and pairing it with the app. It's going to take the guesswork out. So you're going to be able to see a lot quicker what is or isn't working for you. So I am going to switch this over super quick while you all do that. I'm going to take a sip of water because I didn't take a sip of water and I carried on chatting, which is very much like me. And I am going to, where are we? Where are we? Why is this not working? Has anyone got any questions in the meantime? Just while I figure out why this isn't working and switching over. Oh, we do love a good tech issue, don't we? I said this, tech phobe. So this really is living proof that if I can use the app, anyone can use the app. So here we go. We're back in business. We're back in business. And we are going to pull up. So you should all be able to see my very hot, pretty face glaring at you now in all the sunshine chaos. And I'm now going to share my screen so you can see me. So that should be sharing now, guys. Everyone can just let me know that that is sharing. Can you all see it? Is that all good? Amazing. I'm getting thumbs up. Love it. So now we're going to jump into the good stuff. The first place I want to start with this is the product playbook. And the reason I want to start with this is because this was one thing I found super helpful when I was going through this app as a newbie and when I started working with heyLevi is it's really important to me that not only you're creating avatars and personas in the app that reflect your ideal customers, but that you're doing so in a way that meets every stage of your funnel. So that when you're creating content, it doesn't matter whether you're creating content for Instagram, Facebook, like LinkedIn, you are going to be able to pick a persona, like pick a customer avatar that's at the top, middle, or bottom of your funnel and create content around them. So you need to make sure that you have your brand voice created and you need to make sure that you have your playbook created. If you don't have a product playbook, it's okay. This what I'm going to show you first is an optional step. So still do all of this if you don't have an offer, just do it without your product playbook because it will still generate your content based on your brand, right? So still do this regardless. I just thought this was super useful and wanted to mention it because it really worked for me. So in my target audience, I actually added at the bottom of here. So you can see I've got my brand narrative avatar and it is spot on, like so spot on when I created my playbook. But at the bottom, I have added who my target audience is very subtly. So nothing fancy, very subtly based on the top, middle, and bottom of my funnel. So for me, I've got someone starting out in social media, someone growing on one platform but needs to expand, and then people who are looking to grow their platforms for various offers. Because for me, they're three different people. Now, what that did when I created it was gave me these three avatars, and they're all at different parts of my funnel. So we've got Sarah, Carlos, and Aisha. Now, in here, I'm just going to expand one just so you can see where I looked, because again, I want to give you like a bird's eye view of me using it as like an AI tech phobe newbie who is now in love with this platform. So these were the key bits for me, excuse me, that what they wanted to do. So when I looked at this, I was immediately able to tell that where these people were in my funnel, and if it had picked up on that command, that this person was in a different place to Carlos, and Carlos was in a different place to Aisha, and it did it really, really well. So that's just a little tip from me to you that I found really, really useful. So then, if we go down to marketing content and social media posts, this is where we get to have some fun. So these modules, like I said, have been chopped and changed to not only meet your feedback, but the feedback I gave around what will work on social media and what's going to create the best content. So you can see on here, you can pick a product playbook if you've done one. I'm going to pick one because I've outlined mine and my offer. Now, this is where, as you scroll down, it's pulled in my brand narrative, the target audience. So for me, that's kind of like the umbrella side of it. That kind of says, right, this is who your brand is focused on, and this is who we're speaking to. But then I've got my personas, which again, you've got to remember because I put that prompt in, it is now telling the app that these are in 3 different places for the funnel. So I'm going to go with Sarah. And that's the first one. So Sarah is the entry. She is my basic girl who has got a business. She's looking to grow. Social media probably really overwhelms her and she kind of doesn't know where to start. And I'm going to target Sarah on Facebook. I'm going to name this as a test. And you can do all this. Like, it's so, so simple to use. And this bit, like this next bit, content to repurpose, I mentioned this on one of my earlier slides. So this bit is where you can take webinars, like anything you've done, YouTube videos, clips, emails, and you can take the transcripts and put them into here. And what that's going to do is generate you content that fits your customer avatar. So it's going to chop that down into multiple bits of content that you can use on Facebook. And this is where, like, it's really easy for me to say, like, oh, you're going to be able to create 25 pieces of content from doing this one prompt. But actually, like, think of the content you have probably got sitting around that has just gone to one place. So you're not utilizing that content anywhere else. You're not taking someone's learning style and adapting that long form reading to anywhere else, but it's also going to chop it down for you and it's going to create multiple posts that are still very much in line with your brand narrative and that brand voice that you have created. So I'm not going to add anything in there for the purpose of this, but if we go down, I am going to go with, this is my favorite brand tone of voice. I'm going to go with brand empowered realist because you can see there. That's the one I've got there. So I'm going to click next. Super simple. It's going to do its thing. It's going to feed off what we've already told it in our brand playbook, in our brand voices, and if you're using it in your product playbook. Now, this is where it gets like super mind-blowing for me. And I'll be honest, this is where it changed my thinking around AI content creation. Because in this section, you have got 5 different things, 5 different hooks that fit in 5 different buckets. And you can pick the content you want to create. Now, Raheen laughed at me earlier because I literally was like picking them one by one. And she's like, why don't you just select all? I'm like, because my brain wants to pick each one individually. So don't do what I did if you want to batch create your content. But the reason this really blew my mind is because I had sat, like, I've been in social media for years and I had literally painstakingly sat, I cannot even, thousands of times and thought about these and split my content, my clients' content into these buckets to then create hooks for each one of them. So if you are like, you have got to think when people go to social media, these buckets are the things they want. They want educational content, they want informational content, they want to be inspired, they want entertainment, and obviously you want to promote because you want to sell to them. So this has literally just taken everything out for you because I can just select everything on here. I can go down to the inspirational bucket. I can do the same. I can pick all of these things off. And then I'm going to click next. And what it's going to do is bring up this screen where with a one click of a button, like one click, people, not like my thumbs going 100 miles an hour writing content, like hours of my life back. One click, the little fancy purple lines are going to swing while you take a sip of your coffee. It's going to give you some awesome statistics that you can work with. And then all of a sudden, your content is going to be there. And you know what I love about this as well, from like a personal point of view, and everyone on this call should be able to relate to this. Content isn't just strategic, it's super emotional. And not just emotional from your client's perspective, but emotional from your perspective. Like, how many times have you woke up and thought, I've got to write a post, or I've got to post on social media, and total writer's block? And it's really annoying because the best ideas usually come when you can't write, when you're like in the shower. But how many times have you done that where you don't know what to say? And then one day becomes 2 days, or that email didn't go out, or you start feeling flustered, you start feeling overwhelmed. Like, for me, this isn't just a strategic like move. This is like a lifestyle changer from somebody who has sat for many hours and wrote content. So it's going to give you here the bucket that you picked, the title of the content from the bucket that you picked. It's all laid out here so you can see which bucket it falls in. And it is going to give you the entire post, not just a generic post, not a prompt-based post mentioning no other app names, but not a prompt-based post. It is giving you a post that is tailored so specifically to your audience. You literally just have to copy and paste it onto the platform you've picked. It's even making it easier because you can change the formatting. You can generate an image. You can look at this. So especially if you're doing like SEO and keywords and you want to include some of those in, like, it's going to give you everything. And because it's so well trained, like, we know now SEO and keyword optimization is huge on social media in terms of targeting your ideal clients. Like, hashtags aren't enough and all that stuff isn't enough. When this generates those posts, it's putting in the keywords specific to your audience. It's literally telling the internet, like, this is a really incredible piece of content, and these people need to see it. It's like a foghorn. It's like an alarm on your social media going off, calling all of your ideal clients and customers in. So you can see, and if you don't like it, you can hit regenerate. You can generate the image. You can go through, generate all the posts first, then you can go through and generate all the images after that. And it's just really clean and crisp, and it fits in the content bucket. So you don't have to worry about, oh, have I got a promotional post for Facebook this week? Have I got an inspirational post for Instagram this week? Like, no, you have it all here. And you can just do it. You open each bucket up, and then you generate posts. It's going to give you the title, it's going to give you the theme of that post, and then all you have to do is save it, copy and paste it, schedule it. Like, I'll give you a little like outsider tip. Most apps don't like schedulers because they're third-party apps. LinkedIn's got its own scheduler. You can find schedulers that are supported by like the app. So you're just making your life easier. Like, you're just making your life so much easier by being able to create all this content. And for me, the one thing, this is like another personal point, but the one thing that, because obviously I work in social media as well, these little statistics it gives me give me really good ideas for more content. So I can literally just keep plugging in content because it's like feeding me them all the time. So there you go. You can see that all of those posts have come up. Everything, even the emojis, like, even the emojis are there, people, and it all just comes up really easily, and you can just let it do the work. Like, I think that's the point that I'm making. You can just let it do all the work, and you can go back through, you can generate all the posts, and then it's literally going to, when you finish creating all those posts, you're just going to go to the bottom, and they're all there. They're all there for you to copy. You can copy all the content, you can save it, you can export it, like, you can do all the things to make your life so much easier. And like, think how much time this is going to save you. And this is before, like, I think this is really important to know. This is before we even look at, we're not even covering, like, I'm just talking about social media. This is before you even look further into the app and what the app can do for your business and as a business support suite. And there aren't many places like things out there that can do that. So you've got all that there and it's all there ready to go. You hit done, and it's just going to take you back to the start, and you can create it all again. Like you can create it all again. Now, the other thing I just wanted to mention, because I've got a fellow UK, I've only seen one fellow UK, but there is someone from Suffolk here. You can change it for UK. Because one of my, like, this is another thing I love so much about this. And I've had this conversation with Raheen about like AI flags, where sometimes you get content that doesn't sound like it's been written by a human, and then other times you get like classic AI giveaways. The US to UK one is a classic for me because I mean I'm going to say you guys because most of you are in the US. You have like Z's instead of S's. If you're not in the US, you can literally change it to UK. Oh my God, like that excited me probably more than anything else because nothing else does that. Everything else puts Z's in front of S's, and then it just, yeah, like that's just like a little added bonus for me, just from a usability perspective. But again, you can go back through this. You don't, as I've said, the product playbook is optional. So even if you are just starting out and you've like it's new and you've not got that far yet, you don't need to have. You don't need that product playbook. If you've got an offer, amazing, put that offer in there because that's going to allow the app to tailor it even more and get even more specific. But you don't need to. It's still going to create the content that is specific to your brand voice, to your brand image, and to what you want to portray online. Because I think whether you're working as a business yourself or whether you're doing this because you've got clients and customers that need this, like we all know reputation is everything and everything stays on the internet for so long. Like it just never disappears. So the last thing you want is for people to be finding like crappy content. You just don't want it. But you can see here, even with it, and I know I mentioned this before, it's even going to pull up the TikTok script for you. So if let's say this is where this becomes really useful because if you're somebody like me, I use my platforms differently. And I think maybe there'll be other people on this call that do the same. So if you, like I said at the start of the call, I grew my social media business not talking about social media because it really annoyed me that all these social media and marketing people were talking about like, this is how you market, this is how you do content. But they'd only ever done social media and content. So I grew different platforms doing different things. And even now, if you go on my TikTok, I target the same group of people, but I target them differently. So if I want like TikTok scripts and I want it to be in a completely, or if you want a TikTok script, but let's say you're using TikTok as your organic, remember what I said about TikTok and Instagram? If you're using TikTok as your organic building strategy and you want to funnel people to Instagram where they buy, you have to think that they're going to go from the entry of your funnel to the middle of your funnel. So you're not going to want the same content. You're not going to be want to be talking about the same thing. But so by at the start, that's why I gave you that tip about like putting in the description, like this and my three, like hi, these are my three like people I'm targeting. Can you please tailor these? Because for me, if I'm somebody that's like right now, TikTok is my organic like start of funnel. That's where I want to get people on my email list. That's where I want to get people over to my Instagram or my YouTube. I am going to be able to go in here, and even if I want like the same tone of voice, I'm going to be able to pick a different persona because my offers are still the same. My end goal is still the same. The goal that I want people to get to is still the same, but how they get there is going to be very, very different. So I'm going to pick Sarah because she's the start of my funnel, and that's going to give me scripts that's going to pull those people in. But if I was creating content for LinkedIn, let's say, I'm probably going to want to talk to Aisha because Aisha's already using social media. Aisha already knows the platform. She's just looking to grow and leverage the platforms in different ways and build her reach. So the way I talk to Sarah is going to be very different to the way I talk to Aisha. So if I'm targeting Aisha on LinkedIn, for example, because she is because LinkedIn, you're not going to want so much of like an email organic funnel. People buy a lot easier on LinkedIn. I don't need to talk to Sarah and Carlos because Aisha is my end goal, my high ticket client, the one I want in there, and I know she's going to buy through LinkedIn. So the way I talk to her needs to be very, very different to talking to Sarah, who's completely new to social media and whatnot. You get the point with that. Well, I hope you get the point. If you don't get the point, please tell me, and I will go through it again. But that is what I absolutely loved about that, because as somebody who uses her platform so, so differently, it's a lot of energetic work to create content at the right level for different platforms when you're talking about different things, but you're funneling people to the same place. This does it for me. I don't have to think about it anymore. This does it all for me. And again, if then, let's say I have targeted Sarah on TikTok, but I know Carlos is on my email list and is probably going to be interested in the things that I've talked to Sarah about, but just in a bit more detail, I can take an email. I can take a longer form video that I did. I can pop it in the content to repurpose, and it's going to make it bite size. It's going to make it, sorry, I've got Sarah and Carlos the wrong way around them, but if I have got something that Carlos has read and he's on my email list and I want to simplify it for Sarah, that's what this is going to do. It's going to break it down into bite-sized chunks so that anybody lower in my funnel than Sarah is going to be able to understand it. And it's going to be able to understand it on a platform where they're digesting that information. So can everyone see that in terms of, I'm going to do like another example here, and then I'm going to open up the chat. But can everyone see what I'm saying here in terms of like how powerful this is? That like it's just taking the guesswork out of it. It's taking the heavy lifting out of content, which is where most people struggle. Most people, from my perspective, even like taking like apps and AI out of it, most people struggle with their social media because they don't know what to post and they're inconsistent with their posting. Like this gives you like no excuse because it does it all. And you can see here, it's changed the buckets based on the fact that I've now picked Carlos, because what Carlos wants to learn isn't what Sarah wanted to learn. He's in a completely different place in my business. So he wants to understand in more depth. He wants to understand a little bit more. Now, let's say I look at these and I'm like, I'm not really sure that Carlos is going to jump on these hooks. I'm not really sure like they're the right target for what I've been talking about recently. I'm just going to hit generate more. And it's going to give me more ideas that I can keep going with. And I don't have to batch create 25 pieces of content. I can just pick the content that I want to create. And the more this app gets to know you, the more you feed into it, the more it's going to be able to read your mind, but also get in that mind of your ideal clients. So now it's given me all these ways, like 3 ways to boost engagement without clickbait. Like Carlos is going to love that because he doesn't want to be clickbaity. How does this app know that Carlos doesn't want to be clickbaity? Because the narrative it produced for me, what I fed into it was me telling it, my clients are done with clickbait marketing. My clients are done with tactics that don't work, and they're done with this promise of overnight success and overnight virality. So it's picked up on that, it's pulled it in, but it's still going to create that piece of content differently for those 3 people. And again, in the brand playbook and in the things it's generated about Carlos, it says that like in that avatar, that one of his worries is that he's not being authentic in his marketing. Like he knows his audience wants authenticity and wants connection. So again, that's brought up exactly what he wants, reading his mind and creating content for me that I can just put out on social media and it's going to speak to him. And that is the key. Like that is the key to chef's kiss social media. It's when somebody scrolls and goes, oh, that person's in my head. And I'm gonna big myself up here because that's what happened with me and Raheen. Raheen messaged me on a Saturday morning and she was like, I love your content. And I was like, let me check out your app. I love your app. Like, amazing, match made in heaven. But that's literally what happened. But the difference is that Saturday morning, I think it was was it in January? When Raheen hit my content, I had wrote every piece of that content. I had sat on my phone in between baby naps and feeding and getting my steps in because we've all got to be healthy and drinking my water and doing all the things that we do as business owners and as people with families and as all of this stuff. It had took my time, and now that doesn't need to happen. That doesn't need to happen because it's all there, and it has that same effect that Raheen saw with me, but I've got like the inside knowledge. I've got the secret hack that no one knows about, and it's backed up by the fact that this app doesn't just do content, it can do a million other things for you and your business. So that is me going through there. I just love it. Like honestly, if you are like a content addict like me, I just love this. I could just sit on it all day. I love it. I'm just like, create me more content. How many times a day can I post? So I am going to just stop that share for a sec. I'm going to show my face. I'm going to say hello. Hi, everyone. The sun's gone down a little bit now. It's not as hot and roasting. But has anyone, obviously I know Maha Raheen, you're in the chat and you're looking at this. Did someone else just spot Cuban dishes? Because I've just seen someone comment Cuban dishes piqued my interest. Cuban dishes will always pique my interest. Cuban and Mexican food. Oh, we just don't have the ingredients over here to cook it right. It really stresses me out. As I said, a big foodie. Has anyone got any questions? Has anyone got anything? And this could be about using the app. This could be about like social media. I'm happy to take questions. And if I can't answer them, Raheen is on hand as well, so she can. So let's have a look. Is it easy to employ the system for clients? Do I need anything else apart from go high level to launch for my clients today? Raheen, do you want to take that question? That's probably more of a you question.
Yeah, and Latoya, I did reply in the chat as well. But yeah, so for the white label version, you just need GHL, and then you'll get an email with a video, all with instructions, step-by-step instructions. You'll need to set up an OpenAI API key and a few other API keys, but it's all in the email, all in the video. And then we also have an onboarding team that you can book a call with, and they'll walk you through everything. So few extra steps with the white label and getting it set up within your GHL, but pretty straightforward. And yeah, you don't need anything else apart from those API keys and GHL. Laura, one question that came up that I was answering in the chat, but it would be, I think, really helpful to everyone if you were to go over it one more time, is how you're targeting people at the different stages of your funnel. So, and then we also had a question on how it's different from what we covered last month. So where do you use the 3 different brand voices and how do you create the 3 different customer avatars for each stage of your funnel, if you can clarify that?
Okay, yeah, let me get this back up and give it a share. Let me back on. There we go, back on my screen. So I think I have got, let me just move you guys across there. Okay, so when you first go into the app, you're going to have your brand voices here that you are able to create. Okay, so you can go in here, you can add a brand voice, you can create it, you can add content that you've already done, and it's going to pick up on the brand voice that is most aligned, and it's going to give you some other options for it. So you can see from mine, I have got empowered realist and an engaging persuader, which I quite like. I feel like they really nailed it. And then when you create your product playbook, you're going to be able to pull in everything here that's going to feed into. Now, again, you don't need this, but it's going to feed into the content off the back of this. And this is what I said at the start. It's super important that you create the brand playbook and those brand voices, because that's what's going to create this narrative that's like that umbrella over the top of your content, because that's the narrative of your brand. So it's like what's running through it, the pain points, the positioning, the solution, all of those things. So then when you then go from there, Raheen, correct me if I'm wrong with this, because again, I'm very much in the social media side of this. So I'm hoping Raheen can pull me in on this because it's really testing me now. Because again, remember guys, you're getting the raw view of this. You're getting like the raw, like Laura anti-AI all of a sudden obsessed with this.
I
It
think
is
you're doing
going to,
amazing. Was the question around the customer avatars and the playbooks?
yeah, so it was how we create the customer avatars.
Yeah. No, I think what you did earlier was perfect. Sorry, I was a little distracted while you were doing it the second time, but yeah, you just add in the target audiences that you're targeting at each stage of your funnel. So that's what Laura did. In the target audience field, she just added it right under the brand customer avatar. You could also just replace that brand customer avatar. It pulls it in automatically to give you a starting point. But ideally, as long as your brand customer avatar is correct, which it should be, you can just add in any specific notes about who you're targeting at the different stages of your funnel under that, and it will create all the customer avatars for you. That's what
I
you
just
did, right,
wanted to
Laura?
make sure I was at because I couldn't see the question. So I was like, am I answering the question you've just told me? Because I couldn't see the question you were referring to and you'd got the question. So thank you for clarifying that. But yeah, so this was the bit I mentioned at the start. Now, I will say, like, I also put it in the description, but it didn't work as well because obviously it's looking for the target audience. So this was just the sentence. Like, this wasn't even like, I will scroll so you can see. All of this is what the brand playbook created for me. Now, you can change that. If there are parts of that that you don't like or that you think aren't going to produce the right thing, you can change that, which I think is really good to just reiterate. But this was the part for me that I added in that gave me the three different people. So all I did was make a point, like you can see, it's such a super simple sentence. My target audience are either starting out on social media, that produced me Sarah, are growing and selling on one platform but need to expand, that produced me Carlos, or growing on multiple platforms for various offers, that produced Aisha. So that's how I did it. And again, you're not getting this from like Raheen's got years of experience in this industry. Like she knows her stuff when it comes to brands and AI. I've been completely transparent and said I've come in as the social media expert, but even for me, that nailed it. That sentence, I didn't need to use any more information or like anything else I didn't know or any more expertise that I didn't have in AI to generate that. It just did it for me. And it was just, yeah, three sentences. And I played about with a couple of them. So I gave a little bit more detail when I tried it, and then I kind of edited it and gave it like a lot more detail because I really wanted to test it out when I was testing the new modules. And it did it every single time. And I didn't even need to, like, just to go back, I didn't even need to really go into, because like there's a lot of information here, which is amazing. And that's going to come in. This is why I say this is more than just content creation. This is like looking at your whole business and how you connect with your audience. But for me, it was literally just like these bits. The immediate task, I could see straight away that the app had picked out keywords. This was it as well for me. Sarah struggles with the noise on social media. Now that tells me, knowing my ideal clients and customers, that tells me that Sarah is somebody who like feels overwhelmed with content. They're struggling with that noise. They're struggling with how to stand out, and that's probably because they're quite new, so they don't know how to. The same with like Carlos. And again, this is from like, I need to like just remind you, this is from one sentence that I added in. Like, how many words are there? Like 20, 30 words? Like, there was nothing to it. And you can see here, this is how I knew Carlos was bang in the middle and he was going to hit that middle one, build a strong social media presence, because this is what I'd said. They're growing and selling on one platform. So even with the vaguest of information, heyLevi knew that Carlos was going to be somebody who was looking to grow by virtue of the fact that they were on one platform but were growing and selling on that one platform. Because think of that like think of your client and customer journeys, and this is another thing that I love so much. It already knows my client and customer journey. It already know this app already knows the logical next step for Carlos, and it's built it into here. So when that content's created, it's talking to the logical next step, because that's another secret weapon with content that I've not seen any of the app be able to create. Your content needs to know what your audience are going to do before they do it. And it needs to be directional, meaning when you hit post, you need to know what that next step is you want your audience to take, and it has to be that intentional. this guessed it. I literally, from growing and selling on one platform, it guessed Carlos's logical next steps. So now every piece of content I create is already anticipating his next step. And the same with Aisha. I'll just expand that one so you can see it. I need to expand my reach. Like, it is just genius. It is just genius. Like, I need to expand my reach. Like, we know, Aisha, I didn't know you needed to do that. heyLevi told me you needed to do that. Um, so yeah, you can see. And like I said, you could get more specific with that. I kept it vague because I wanted to put the app under pressure. I wanted to see how well it knew what my customers want, like what my audience wanted, but how easily it guessed their next steps. And like you can see there for yourself, like it did it so quick, so easy, and just so to the point. And that's before I've even looked at like the other parts of what it's done. So hopefully that answered that question.
Although, just to wrap that up, in terms of how you pull in the brand voice for each stage of your funnel and the customer avatar, Laura, do me a favor. If you can share your screen one more
I was
time.
just
I
gonna do that. I didn't mean to stop sharing it. I clicked the wrong thing. I was
no, I
trying to look
just
at the
want to make
chat.
I know Zoom makes it really hard to share your screen and look at the chat at the same time. But yeah, just in case anyone is still confused, just wanted to close that loop and make it super clear. So, I was asking Laura not to go too deep into the brand voices today because I wanted to stay super focused on all the new information she had to share with us, within the short time that we have together. And again, if Maha, if you can drop the link to the YouTube video for the replay for the last workshop in the chat. So if anyone wasn't here, or if you guys were here and wanted a refresh on that, we talked about brand voices for each of the three different stages of the funnel: top, middle, and bottom. And that's more about the way you write, right? The I think the analogy that I used last month was you wouldn't talk to, let's say when you meet your spouse for the first time, you wouldn't necessarily talk to them on a first date, as you do, when you're married or now 10 years after marriage or however long. But you get the point, right? Like it's at different stages of your relationship with them, you'll start to speak a little bit differently. You don't change, you're not a different person, but the way you speak and the language that you use should evolve with that relationship. And that's really what we were talking about with the brand voices for each stage of your funnel. For the customer avatars that Laura just talked about in the product playbooks, that's more of you have all three of those kinds, all the different people of all the different stages of your sales funnel on your socials, right? They're all going to be seeing all of your content, but some pieces of content are going to resonate with some of them more than the other pieces will. So the idea is to create content and maybe cycle through each of your different customer avatars for each stage of the funnel, if that made sense. Laura, I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to add to that, but is anything?
No, I think you've absolutely nailed it. Yeah, you've absolutely nailed it.
So do me a favor, navigate back to the social media module here, and let's just show everyone where you would pull in the brand voice versus where you would pull in the customer avatar. So here, yeah, if you want to just scroll down a little bit, Laura, on your screen. Yep. Um, no, go back up to where the customer avatars are.
There we
Right
go.
there. So you see Carlos. So here is where you'll pick your customer avatar that you're targeting with, the content that you're creating right now. And click on that Carlos option for me. Yeah. And then you'll see all the three different customer avatars here. And then if you scroll down to where it says, I think it says tone of voice,
Tone of voice. There we go.
that's where you can, again, optionally pull in the brand voices that you created on the last workshop with us to match the customer avatar and which stage of the funnel you're targeting.
And I
Anyone
think
have
what's
any
really important
questions?
to add, oh, sorry. I think what's really important to add to that is we've created, like you've seen me create 25 pieces of content per person, per platform with one of those tones of voice. So the more, like if you've got two or three tones of voice, that automatically means you've got double the amount of content for each platform in a different tone. And the amazing thing about that is you're going to get into a feedback loop with your audience that are going to tell you which is working best. And you can feed that back in by editing your playbooks. So you can feed that back in and the feedback you're getting, put it back into your playbooks when you've created them, and that's going to narrow that down even more. So over time, the app's going to learn and your content's going to get more specific. which I think is really, really important.
Yeah, somebody asked this question earlier in the chat as well. Like, how do I know whether the customer avatars and the offers and everything that it's creating for me, that Hey Levi is creating for me, is actually real and it's going to work in the real world? And I say this on every workshop, every presentation I've ever done. You always want to talk to your real life customers, right? In this world of AI, AI is here to help us and it does a lot of magical stuff, but we never want to lose sight of the fact that talking to your customers is irreplaceable. Anyone who tells you that you can use AI or automations or anything and not have to talk to your customers as much is lying to you. I don't know of a single successful company that's been able to do that. So always, always, always be talking to your real customers. If you're just starting out with a brand new business or just starting from scratch, talk to the people that you think you can serve. This is something that I learned from Laura, but you want to niche down on the problem that you solve. So when you're first starting out, instead of trying to niche down on the audience, niche down on the problem that you're trying to solve. Once you identify that, then it'll become clear who has that problem, and those are the people you want to be having conversations with, real life conversations. Once you have those conversations and you know that you can actually help these people, bring that information, bring that description of those people into Hey Levi, and then start telling Hey Levi whatever you know. We covered voice of customer on a workshop in January. So if you're having Zoom calls with these customers or prospects, take those transcripts, pull it into your voice of customer, and then pull that voice of customer into your customer avatars. This makes it so that your customer avatars are mimicking your real life customers in on a very, very deep level. This is not something that ChatGPT is going to produce for you. This is literally taking your actual conversations, turning them into actual dialogue within your customer avatars, and then pulling that into all of the content that you create on the app. So kind of went off on a tangent there, but all that to say, you never want to stop talking to your customers. The more you talk to your actual customers, the more you'll know if whatever you're getting from Hey Levi is working or not. Hey Levi is going to get you 80 to 90% of the way there, but that 10 to 20% you still want to validate through actual real life conversations. Very, very important. Can't stress this enough.
Yeah, and that's also why I speak to a problem here. So targeting the problem, niche down on the problem, not the person. My overarching problem, like you can see that I've put it on here, is that people are struggling to grow on social media, no matter where they are in the funnel, they're struggling to grow. I'm niching down on the problem. I'm not tailoring all my content towards Sarah, who is a person with XYZ issues. I'm tailoring it towards a problem that three people in very different stages of their business have, but the common denominator is that they all want to grow on social media. They're just all at different stages of that growth. And that's the really like cool thing about this is it allows you to do that. It allows you to put those in and not fall trap. And again, like Raheem said, this was one of the first things I ever said. I don't even think we were working together when I said this to you. It's one of the biggest problems I see on social media because everyone's like, pick a niche, like focus on a niche, focus on a niche person, focus on a niche person, talk to a niche person. You can see here why that doesn't work. If I spoke to a niche person, I would only ever be speaking to Sarah, Carlos, and Aisha. And that's before I even get into the dynamics of those three people being on different apps. Like that's before, that's just surface level before I even dig into the fact that Sarah's not going to be hanging out on LinkedIn, probably the way Aisha is. So it is super, super important because it all feeds into that content creation process. And then echoing what Raheem said about talking to your customers, no matter whenever you post on social media, like AI, like this app and AI is the most amazing thing, but it's going to feed you what you give. It's going to put out what you give him. So you want to be looking for that feedback loop. The whole point of this, the whole point of doing those product playbooks, and the fact that it's got an edit feature on it is because this is going to give you everything you need to start or to move forward, but you can keep enhancing it. And as you keep enhancing and growing with the app, it's going to keep growing and enhancing with you and giving more focused and tailored content, which means that as your audience grows emotionally and strategically with your business, your content's going to grow with it without you having to think, how do I strategically grow my content?
So awesome. I'm so excited, you guys. I hope you're as excited as I am to have been able to absorb all of Laura's expertise. I was super excited when she started teaching me some of this. I'm not a social media expert. I've been doing product marketing for a very long time, brand marketing for a very long time. Social media is not my forte. So when I found Laura, and I actually, funnily enough, like she was saying earlier, I found her through her content. Somebody mentioned her in some Facebook group that I saw, and I just happened to, I was clicking through some of the people that were being recommended on that post. Nobody's content spoke to me the way Laura's did. And immediately I started reading some of her stuff. I stalked her on LinkedIn, I stalked her on Facebook, and I was like, I need to talk to her. I love the kind of stuff that she posts. Like, this is someone I need to talk to. And that's how I discovered Laura, literally through her content. And then I talked to her and I showed her Hey Levi, and I said, I've built in a lot of our expertise on the team, our collective expertise into Hey Levi, but the one thing that we haven't nailed in all transparency is the social media module. So we really wanted to work with Laura to bring her expertise in and to have her revamp the social media module so that it is actually creating content, not just that looks fun, but is actually going to convert for your business and for your clients. And so, super excited to share that we've been doing exactly that with Laura. She's been revamping all of our social media channels. I know that, Mark, you asked for links to Laura's social, so we'll add those in the emails that we're sending out. But Laura's also writing all of Hey Levi's content as well. So, Hey Levi, my personal brand, which is Sassy Marketer, SAASY.marketer. On Instagram, she's doing a lot of my content for me now as well on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So, lots of examples of her work everywhere. And again, you're going to see her work reflected through the social media module because we've literally scanned her brain, tried to absorb all of her teachings, worked with her, had her tested, and retested, and over again. That's all she's been doing for the past few weeks is testing the social media module. We waited for her to give us her blessing on the module. Before having this workshop and announcing it to you guys. So you already have all of everything that she just covered on this workshop already in the tool, already available to you guys.
And I just want to give, I hope Raheen doesn't mind me doing and saying this because she doesn't know this yet. So I'm going to wait for the shot to look. But I want to give some real-time proof and evidence to this working because I think it's really, really easy for me to, and you will see from my social media, I have like thousands of followers. I've been doing this a long time, but I want to show you the power of combining what I've taught in this with Hey Levi, and with that, Raheen's engagement and her post impressions is up 230% in 7 days.
What?
So
That's
it shows that it works when it's the right thing. And I think that's really important because again, when Raheen showed me the app, I was like, it talks the talk, does it walk the walk? And like, we're seeing it walk the walk. And I think that's really important that, the tools that you use, like this is your business at the end of the day, the tools that you use are important. What your clients and customers and your audience think of you are important. And when you nail it, those numbers, those little green lines on your social media are just the best feeling in the world. So it works. It works.
And yes, I have to admit that I was one of those. I saw the chats. I saw you guys putting this in the chat, but I was doing the same thing. I was like, well, Facebook and LinkedIn kind of feel the same to me. Instagram and Facebook, like I feel like the captions are kind of the same. And so I would write one post and I would copy and paste it everywhere. And when I met Laura, she was like, no, don't do it. Abort mission. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was
anyways,
actually one of the first bits of feedback I gave about the app. I was like, well, it doesn't diversify across all the platforms. And it is, and again, that's not necessarily because of what we want to say changes, it's how we absorb it. And I think the best way I can say a little exercise for you all to do, just to really prove that this works, think of your behavior when you're on each app. Just think of your behavior. Think about, do I feel the same when I'm on these apps? Do I get stuck on one more than the other? Do I watch more videos on one? Do I absorb more long form content or short form content? Do I engage more on one? Where do I spend most of my time? And that like will give you the answer you need to know for every reason I've taught what I've taught and why we've diversified those modules. Because if you're not differentiating across the platform and this across the platforms. And also one thing that I just want to point out real quick because I didn't mention this, but it's so important. When I talked about the fact that you can put in transcripts and you can break that down into short form content and you can make longer posts and then you can take those longer posts and make them into shorter posts. one thing that you have to remember is not only do people's behaviors differ between platforms, we all have different learning styles. Like the prime example is the fact that when me and Raheem were on a call before this, I clicked every button instead of select all. And she's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, oh, it's just how my brain works. And there are so many things that we do differently, and so many ways we absorb information differently. So just think if you're just targeting the same way on the same platform with the same content, you're missing out on you're not just missing out on differentiation across the apps, you're missing out on different people's learning styles. And that is like when you can really find something, and this was why, we incorporated these into the social media modules, because when you can find something that does that for you, like you don't even have to think about it. So I just wanted to add that in because learning styles are important.
Yes. Thank you, Laura. To wrap that up, just a few more questions that I wanted to answer from the chat. One of you asked if you can have a VA. Excuse me. Oh, I brought back a cough from Costa Rica, so excuse that. Um, if you can have a VA basically run your social media using heyLevi, it's very VA friendly. We created it with busy owners, busy business owners in mind, where we know that you guys don't have the time to create your own social media content. I don't have the time to create our own social media content. We've built everything into heyLevi now, where either Laura or anybody on our team can go in and create content for us. As long as your playbooks and your customer avatars are dialed in, um, everything else, the rest of the app, not just social media, but any copy that you need, your emails, your email newsletters, to lead magnet creation, to nurture emails, to anything at all, blog posts, any content that you need, whether it's sales or marketing copy. Once you have your playbooks and your brand voice and your customer avatars dialed in, creating content in the app, anybody can do it. Any VA can do it. The only thing I would recommend is that whoever is having actual conversations with your customers, whoever knows your customers best, which is more than likely you if you're the one who owns the business, I'd recommend that you create the playbooks. Because again, it all comes down to how good are your playbooks and how good are your customer avatars. As long as your customer avatars reflect who you're truly serving in real life, the rest of the app is super easy to use. So that would be my only suggestion there. Also, in terms of Erin, you asked, can this integrate with GHL without white label? So we have two versions of the app. One is the standalone, which is non-white labeled. You can use this for clients. We have a pro version where you can add clients and you can add users on, and have up to 5 accounts under your one account. And that's not white labeled. But if you wanted to white label it, you would go the GHL route. GHL will have you create an API key. Right now, we're still waiting for rebilling and other things to be released through the GHL API. Not to bore you guys with all the tech stuff, but long story short, if you need white label, you'll want to go with the white label apps. If you're not looking for white label, it's best to go with the standalone because it includes all of the API keys and usage and tokens and words and all of that in the standalone. So you as an agency don't have to worry about it if you don't need the white label aspect. So hopefully that answers that question. I'm trying to see if there's anything else we haven't covered yet. Can heyLevi modify one piece of content for the various platforms and funnel stages? Yes. So if you are repurposing content that was at one field that Laura showed, we didn't demo that part today, but if you have any long form content, you plug it in there, it will look at what platform you're creating that content for. It will look at your customer avatars, your brand narrative, your unique value propositions. It looks at all of these different things and won't just, if you plug in a transcript into ChatGPT, ChatGPT is just gonna, but make it into bite-sized pieces of content for you. But it's not looking at all the other pieces that need to go into that process to make sure that it's going to resonate with your exact target audience. So for all the various platforms and funnel stages, as long as you have your customer avatars for those funnel stages and your brand voices, if you're doing that from last month's workshop, you just pop in your content and it will look at all those different things and then create your content for you for each of your buckets. GHL feature to group social media platforms makes us lazy and not effective. Again, this is to help you be more effective. Yes, definitely not to help you be lazy, because if you're using AI, whether that's heyLevi or any other tool, guys, if you're using it without actually talking to real customers and validating what you're getting from AI, it's not going to work as well. There's no way it can work as well. Is it possible to directly post the social media content to the GHL Social Planner yet? Not yet. We're actually working on that. So that's slated to come out this quarter, Fred. Um, from all the things that you bring back, I brought back a lot of stuff. Just the cough is the one thing that's presenting itself right now. But yes, Costa Rica was amazing, by the way. Has anyone been to Costa Rica? Anyone here?
It's on
Hey,
my
Levi, is
list.
it come true? It's on your list. Yes, I know. Laura and I were texting when I was there, and it was amazing. It was really hot, I'll be honest. But it was, the perfect excuse to just be in the water the whole time, which is what I did. I worked from a swim up bar in Costa Rica. It was great. Um, all right. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Is the talk to me function up and running again? Yes. Gemini issues. Yeah, Andrew, we had some. So Gemini, we were using Gemini's API for the talk to the customer avatar, speak to me feature. That went down. I think it was down for about a week. And I know that that's what you're referring to. So we should update the announcement that we made in the Facebook group. But yes, it's working again. It's actually now out of beta. So they finally released it for production, which is awesome. We're also comparing and testing with some other things that have also been released where voice is concerned. But long story short, we're gonna keep giving you guys the best APIs to use for that. For now, Gemini is up and running again. So if I think Andrew, you're on our white label. So you'll just want to make sure that your Gemini API key is plugged in and it should work perfectly. We can type out the transcript of Hey Levi's workshops and create content to promote Hey Levi's features. Do it. That's exactly what we're going to do, by the way. I was just telling Laura right before this. So as soon as this workshop is done, we're going to take the transcript from this workshop. We're going to plug it in to the social media, what's it called? The module. And we're going to create content. If you're looking to create more than just social media content from any of your long form content, don't forget that we also have a workflow. It will take a long form content or create that long form content from a blog post and YouTube script, and then it'll create like an email newsletter for you and social media as well. So there's that workflow as well if you need more than just social media. All right, I'm just scrolling through all of the questions to make sure we haven't left anything unanswered. I think we're right at the bottom here. From what I understand, the platforms will share your content more when scheduled from the platform as opposed to a third-party scheduling posting app. This is what I found, but Laura, I'll let you take this one.
Yes, so there are a couple of apps that work in kind of unison with Instagram and Facebook because they're Meta owned. Later is the only app that I have ever seen that doesn't affect Instagram and Facebook's algorithm. LinkedIn has its own inbuilt scheduler. TikTok, depending on where you are, does. They've removed it in the UK, but I believe some parts of the US may still have it. But obviously, you're having sketchy issues with TikTok altogether. So don't quote me. That will be based on whatever your account is doing. But as a general rule, I will always say try and post in person in real time when you can, especially if you're in the beginning. Not so much when you've built an audience up, because the algorithm's kind of picked up that you're popular. So it's not going to penalize itself. Because again, think about what I said about the algorithms are there to make the apps money. So when it picks up that you're popular, it's not going to not show your content to people because your content's popular. But in the beginning, I would not do yourself a disadvantage and use a scheduler unless it's an inbuilt one within an app.
Yeah, we've been directly posting our stuff too. So what Laura just shared about the jump in engagement that I've had on my own account, that's all through manual posting. I know not everyone can do manual posting, but for what it's worth, the algorithms definitely prefer it. And then one last question, Laura. I'd actually love to hear your thoughts on this too. It's a really good question because I've struggled with this in the past. I think I know the answer, but again, I'm going to let the expert speak here. The question is, I've noticed when I've used AI and when asking it to develop captions and descriptions based on a transcript, it will often give away the content versus creating curiosity to get the reader to watch the content. I'm gonna give you my 2 cents because I'm actually curious to know if I'm thinking about this
Fine.
right too. And then
You go first.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna go first because what I'm gonna say is probably not gonna be as correct as Laura's. But from what I've seen, or at least my behavior on socials, I don't watch everything. If I like to watch stuff, I don't read the captions. If I read the caption, it's only to see if I actually want to watch the content or not. So giving away what's in the content in your captions, I think, is a good thing because those are the things that I actually end up watching if I read the caption first. But Laura, you go.
So I think I might have misinterpreted the question. So is the question asking, should you echo the content in written as well as like video? Or is the question saying that when they put prompts into AI, it gives away too much, as in makes it salesy or turns it into something they don't want?
Matthew, if you're here, feel free to unmute yourself. But I
Yeah. Yeah, so we've been we've been doing some social production for some clients, and I guess I see the descriptions as an effort to get them to watch the video versus like delivering the whole value of the content, especially as it relates to shorts. And so when I've been programming AI to, because I've been kind of trying to do this without heyLevi yet, so we're getting plugged in pretty quick here. So, but I'm curious if y'all have figured out like the right way to write that caption, write that description, so that it doesn't, like, for instance, let's say it's a short, right? And the short is like this key concept. Well, if the caption sort of gave away the key concept, then it sort of doesn't work to watch the video. So I'm just curious how y'all play with that.
Okay.
On longs, I get that there's a little more value of like having some structure and like here's what the content's going to be that you're going to learn, and here's some key points that some takeaways that you might even get. But I'm just curious how y'all are doing it that because I'm having some success, but we're having to really refine our props to get that to be what we want it to be.
Okay, so there's two things I'll prerequisite and say first of all. One is to think about your learning styles, and two is to think about telling AI what you don't want. Because AI will presume very well, but it's not so great at knowing what you don't want. What you also have to remember is when people watch content, they watch based on what they want, not what they need. So there's a few ways around it, and what I would recommend from a social media perspective is try both ways and see what works. Raheem's bang on from a learning style perspective. You will have people that no matter what you put in that video, they will read the caption and not watch the video. The best example I can give of this is Instagram Reels. Statistically, people are more likely to watch an Instagram Reel with their earphones in but on mute and read a caption. Make that make sense. On TikTok, they will have their earphones in and they will listen to the sound and not read the caption. So a lot of it depends on platform. It depends on how people use the app, but you want to cover all bases from a learning style perspective. The other way to try is try that want versus need analysis. Think of your video, your shorts as the need. Use the caption as the want. So when you're telling AI or when you're building in that description, what you want to do is tell it essentially don't give everything away. Like make this a hook. Your caption can be the hook, the want, this is what they want, that's what's going to stop the scroll and get their attention. And again, in heyLevi, it actually gives you the hook in those buckets, so you've got that done for you. You can use those back on videos because it's already giving you that hook that's going to grab the attention, and then the video is what they watch to get the information. So there's two ways you can try it from a learning like how people learning styles perspective, and try it from a want versus need perspective using a really strong hook rather than a full description. Tell AI what you don't want. I have done that in heyLevi as well. I have trialed it where I've said I don't want a sales post, or I don't want this, that, and the other. And then it's going to give you that feedback loop, see which ones get the most views, and go with that for a good 6 weeks, that method for a good 6 weeks.
Okay, great. Thanks for the help. So I guess the big answer is you do feel like, hey, Levi, you guys are there's at least the ability for me to tweak it in there, and with the rest of what y'all have developed, I should get a better result than maybe what I'm getting on my own and trying to develop these out with my own AI functions.
Yeah, so as someone who has spent a lot of years writing hooks, and as someone who has spent a lot of years writing descriptions, there are always things from, just as Raheem said, AI will do 80% of the work. We can only do so much of the work as well. And it's like the example I gave when I'm like, if you're tired, you're not feeling it, you're having a bad day, you don't really know what to put, you've got writer's block. I think from my perspective, it takes away the guesswork because I don't have to think of a catchy hook. I don't have to think of a description. Okay, if I want to mess around with what it's produced, I can regenerate it or pull certain things from it. But essentially, it's optimized. And I think that's the key point. We can be really good at writing content, but if that content isn't optimized, which requires us searching for what we need to do to optimize it, it's never going to hit. Like what you've got to think is, hey, Levi's working with the internet. It's working with that intelligence to pull in the optimization so we don't have to do it as humans, which for me, as someone, like I say, who's been in social media for years, that's priceless, especially if you're working with different clients or you're working on different themes. Like it's a lot of effort to figure out what is optimized. Like you're not, I can see your face. You're like, it is a lot of effort. Like it's hard and we don't always get it right. So for me, it's like, well, why wouldn't you take that like donkey work out of it and use something that in real time is picking up and getting that feedback for us so we don't have to.
Great, great. Is there, I'm assuming, so we do a big research project for our clients, and I would assume we would probably still do that. I'll be curious as I compare. And so we'll pull a massive research of the biggest competitors in the market and what their top captions are for the overall and in the last year, and then we'll take those and kind of assimilate that into AI to do an analysis. And then we end up with sort of a structure of maybe 10 to 25 captions that we know are probably going to work in their industry. Can we plug that in somewhere with Hey Levi and then have that be in support of whatever Hey Levi is doing as well? I don't know. Maybe Hey Levi would do it better than what we do, but we really trust that that model's working for us. So I'm curious how that would interact with the Hey Levi processes.
I think that's probably a Raheem question.
Yeah. Are you talking about the comparative analysis part, Matthew, or are you talking about something else? Which part did you want to add
So
to?
so um we so basically what we'll do is we'll take a client, let's say they're like I have a real estate investment coach, right? So we'll go pull the top real estate investment coaches, and we'll go find who the top 30 are. Usually we're using AI to resource those, and then we'll go but we do use a VA to actually source like data on what are the top captions that have worked for them for their top videos, and we'll assimilate a list of that for those top 30, and then we take that, have AI analyze that, and bring it down to a list of actual captions that are obviously proven in that industry. So I think we're probably going to still do that because I really like that value until I feel comfortable that Hey Levi does a comparative, effort. But can I get what you guys are doing and what I'm doing play together in somewhere in the functionality of it all?
I mean, it's not designed for that right now, but I'm curious to know more about where you plug that in. So you use it only for hooks, or you use it for hooks and for captions, and you're trying to see what works best for your competitors, and you're reusing that for your clients. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so for instance, we know in our world, like that step-by-step guide works really better than like even the steps to success, or like there's the specific languaging works really really well based on our research of top performing social content in different rounds. It's a little bit different for each one, so we have a project process that we use where we assimilate that data, and then that's what we feed into AI to try to tell us the answers for the content. So I'm kind of doing what you're doing, but not as systemized because it's me just kind of interacting with the AI. So I'm hoping to replace my processes, or at least a lot of them, with your system. And I was just curious if the research we're pulling down can then be integrated and incorporated into what obviously the wisdom of Laura, so that we kind of get the best of both pieces in what we're creating.
Yeah. So again, that's a very specific process, and no, you can't just out of the box. It's not designed to work with that. But that said, I mean, everything is possible. So if you can show us exactly where in the process you're plugging that in, or where it would make sense in your Hey Levi process, we can always add that in. But for now, I'm trying to show you something really quick, if I can do it. I know we're over time here, guys. So anyone who wants to stick around for this while I figure out how to share my screen. Oh, Laura, I can't seem to share my screen. It's your Zoom.
Let me.
Can I share now?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. But yeah, I was going to show you a couple of different ways that I think you could do it. But again, that is such a specific process that I'm going to that and then let me know if this is going to help you get to what you're trying to do. And again, if not, if you're like, no, I really want it to be here. I wish there was a way to like plug this in here, maybe into the playbook, is what I'm thinking. We can always make that happen. But for now, in the social media thing, let's say you have a specific topic or a specific thing that you want to write about that you've seen works for your competitors in your example, you can just add that in here and type it in here. So if you already have that, you can type it in there. If not, I mean, you can also, I'm trying to think if this would work. Again, this I would need to see it in action and see exactly how you're doing it. But if you already know what you want to use and you just want to repurpose it, you could also just drop it in here, right? So that's one option. The other option is just add it in. And then the third option is I'm just going to take one of these and generate the post for it. But I don't know if you guys have seen, I announced it in the Facebook group, but there's now a new edit feature. So if you want to, or a custom command feature. So let's say it's just generated this post. If I select this and I click on this, anyone here seen the new menu and the fact that it actually now connects with Brainstorm AI? I want to make sure I can see everybody's faces here. Those of you that have your cameras on. Yeah, sorry. Tell me again. Have you guys seen this? Okay, Katie's saying yes. Matthew's saying no. So basically, you can do a lot with this. A lot. There's a lot of possibilities. So Matthew, this would be something for you to experiment with. But you can click on chat with Brainstorm AI and then pull that content into the chat and basically say, this is what's working for my competitors. Can you rewrite this in a certain way? I don't know. Just go back and forth. And basically, whatever you're doing in ChatGPT, you can basically replicate it in here and have that conversation.
Okay, great. Yeah, at least we understand. You guys are awesome in what all you're developing and quickly. So hopefully I can share more with you as we're moving forward with it. So thanks so much for.
Yeah, no problem. So again, just go ahead and test all these different ways, see if it works for you. And if you're like, no, I really want it to be in my playbook, so I don't have to keep telling it what to do. And this in this section here or whatever, well, again, show me how you want to do it, and I'm sure we can make it happen. Awesome. Okay, I love this new feature. Yes, that was awesome. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Sorry to keep you here late. I know we're almost 15 minutes over. So with that, we're gonna wrap it up. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and email us, and we'll make sure that if you have specific questions for Laura, just when you email us, you can respond to any of our emails or email us at help@heylevi.ai. Just make sure that you say this is specifically for Laura Amy, and the team will forward it on to her. So you can. This is not the last you're gonna see of her. You're gonna see her in the Facebook group as well. Actually, now that I'm saying that, if you're in our Facebook groups, you can also just tag her with any specific questions that you have. So she's here with us. She's here to help you guys get success with social media. So again, thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you at the next workshop. Before you go, if you're not sure where to find the next workshops, we have one schedule that we might actually move around, and then we have more that we're going to be scheduling out next week for the next couple of months. So if you're looking for that, go to heylevi.ai/events. Maha, if you're still here, if you can please add that to the chat, but it's heylevi.ai/events. And then you'll be able to see what we have planned and what's coming up. We are going to be adding more to the calendar next week. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next one.